So I want to welcome everyone to episode 12. And this is such an incredible journey that we've been on with this Trust After Trauma podcast. And each week we're bringing to you inspirational stories and interviews of amazing people that have navigated through some form of trauma that they want to share aspects of their journey to help others to navigate through this form of trauma, any form of trauma, with tools, with insights, with inspiration, with practices that can help us to really live a better life and go through these portals of dark times in our lives and come out the other side and know that we're not alone. We're in this together. And so anyway, thank you all for joining us. And we have an incredible special guest with us today, Reverend Emma Molina-Ynequez. And I just want to say from my heart to yours, you are in for a special treat. And I'm going to share with you her bio because she is an incredible, beautiful being that I've been blessed to share my life with for over 20 years. And I want to share with you who she is in the world and what she's going to bring with us today. So Emma is a compassionate and devoted spiritual masseuse and guide, as well as an ordained minister. With a heart full of passion, she joyfully serves as a wedding officiant and a ceremonial celebrant, creating meaningful and memorable ceremonies. As a wise shaman and elder, Emma generously shares her wisdom and life experiences, guiding others with love and support on their unique life journeys. And today she's going to be sharing on the topic of living legacy, navigating trust and healing as a soul surviving sibling. And I know that her passion to really serve and support us through this very touching topic, because we've all lost members of our family and dear loved ones. But now Emma's going to be sharing her experience as now being the sole surviving sibling and what that has meant for her, even navigating through her grief and her loss, but also still being there for her extended family. And so, Emma, from my heart to yours, welcome to today's podcast. I am so excited that you're here with us today, sharing your beautiful wisdom and sharing your tools and your practices. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I would love for you to share your voice and maybe share some aspect of what I've just introduced you with, and share maybe a story or two about what it's been like for you, this journey of being a soul surviving sibling.
Well, first of all, thank you, Janet Grace, my heart, my mountain sister. It's nice to be able to say that, being that I've just recently lost my baby sister, which is the complete family of six of my siblings, my mom and my dad, all gone. And I'm glad we're talking about this because I think it's time for me too. I've been talking sporadically with people here and there, and not being able to articulate. So today, when I listen to you talk about it as navigating through a trauma, it really has been that. It has been quite the journey of a strange feeling to be the last one standing. I've outlived all my family. My dad died young at 50 something. My mother lived to be 74. And here I am. In a week, I'm going to be 75. So I already feel like I'm past that. I've achieved this amazing life. When reflecting upon all my siblings and their means by which they pass, most of them died of some kind of disease or illness. And I too shared an illness with most of them. Like half of them had cancer of one form or another. And I too had breast cancer like 30 years ago. And to
Mhm.
this very day, I ponder the idea of like, how did I make it through?
Right.
Like I'm still going, I'm still standing, although it's taken on a physical pain, because I wasn't talking it out. I wasn't articulating the depth. It's not just, oh, I lost someone and how sad. And, it messed with my mind. I couldn't go to church for 4 months and I was just lost. I think I was just
Yeah.
angry to be the last one standing and confused because I had nowhere to go with those questions. Like, what was the difference between them and myself? And I would pray and get the answer of it was your choices.
Wow.
You made different choices. If I was diagnosed as I was with cancer 30 years ago,
Mhm.
and my mother had lung cancer, my sister had lung cancer, my baby sister just died of stomach, bone, and lung, I think, cancer. I just couldn't comprehend how I made it through.
Right.
And then I realized is that I did not succumb to the illness. The illness was my teacher. My
Mhm.
illness was about to catapult me from corporate world to becoming this massage therapist, body worker, spiritual guide, because it was teaching me from the inside out that if I go within, I'll never go without.
Oh.
I was so astounded at these words, and as I asked the question of the universe, the answers were there or coming through. So in this last 6 months, I did lose my mind a little bit when I lost my sister. And I smile at the thought because it was so liberating to say it. I was mad at God or I was mad at her or whoever I was mad at. And I walked around not wanting to go to church because I didn't feel what I needed from church. So I found yoga. And who would have thought that finding a soft place to land would be on a hardwood floor?
Right.
But
Right.
restorative yoga is a different type of yoga where you just open up your heart, you hold a pose for 5 to 10 minutes, and things were coming through as if my brothers, my sister, especially my sister, was speaking to me as I just was silent, as I was just opening up myself to feeling the grief, the pain, the sorrow. If
Mhm.
anybody asked me how I was doing, I would tell them I was messed up in the head, not in the heart, because I knew
Mm.
where they were or where they're at, even at this moment. But the journey has been interesting because my left leg gave out. I was walking around the Rose Bowl for 6 consecutive days. And on the seventh day, I couldn't stand. And I kept hearing what I just introduced myself with, the only one standing. And I couldn't. I wasn't able to stand on my own 2 feet.
Yeah.
And the psychology behind this lateral collateral strain that we found out nothing wrong with my knees, no illnesses, no breakage, just this emotional holding, like I was being held to just slow down and listen and open myself up to another dimension.
Mhm.
This survival thing, navigating, being the last survivor. I've survived many things, as most of us have. But to lose a sibling or to lose all siblings and my mom and dad took on a whole different meaning.
Yeah.
And so I just kept walking and talking and sitting, particularly quietly, is where they would come in.
Mhm.
They would beautifully come in, especially I think my younger sister, my baby sister, is the spokesperson for all of them because there's a
Mhm.
lot of them. There's
Mhm.
6 siblings and a mom and dad. So that's a lot.
Mhm.
And then for me to be the last one standing, trying to get through, trying to navigate through age and aches and pains and sorrow at the same time,
Mhm.
was spirit driven.
Yeah.
Their spirits and their ability to communicate. And I have this beautiful balcony and I have this beautiful practice that at sunrise, and Janet knows this because she's up early too. I would sit on the balcony with a cup of coffee, watch the sunrise, and then just ask the questions, you know? And for the longest time, I did not get an answer, but I would do it over and over again and just sit quietly. And my sister came very clearly and said, Sis, you were not granted an inheritance of money. You were granted an inheritance of time. And how do you want to spend that time and with whom? It was so eye opening and aware that she's right. Although I have outlived my family of origin, I have a family, immediate family, who is abundant. Yeah, I've got grandchildren and great grandchildren and a beautiful husband I've been married to for 41 years. So my life here on the planet is fruitful and abundance. And so with this grief that I've experienced, when my clients come in with theirs, it's a privilege to allow them to be angry, to be sad, to shake their fists, to kick and scream. And then what? And so we wait for the answers, but the answers are within. These memories that you asked about are so beautiful. I wanted to share that I have a birthday coming up next week, and Janet's in the same month as I am. And I closed my eyes and wondered, when I was a kid, I had my whole family around me, right? Everybody's singing happy birthday, mom and dad making a big deal. And I don't have that on the physical plane. So when I close my eyes and I feel all my siblings and they're wishing me well, but it's their children, my nieces and nephews, will be gathering on this Friday, no, excuse me, this Saturday to celebrate the last one standing. The connection that I have to them and the connection I have had and still have with their parents, my brothers and sisters, and my siblings' children.
Yeah.
What a gift.
What a gift.
And I am not willing to um, miss that opportunity. I
Mhm.
am in the present moment, probably for the first time in a long time, of seeing the then, the now, and the future, because I too have great granddaughter
Mhm.
who recently asked me, why do we get old? She's 3. And I had to make sure that my answer, because I know that it's impressionable, right? At that age, you're going to say something and it has to be mindful. So I said, Clover, how old are you now? And she formulated her fingers, 3. And I said, do you remember being a baby? And she said, yes. And I said, and now you're 3 hanging out with me? Time flies, was my answer. It's my answer to everyone, that time flies. And if time is our new money or my new money, our currency, how and with whom do we want to spend it?
Mhm.
And how do we take care of ourselves knowing that we are worthy of time?
Yeah.
And
So, so many beautiful things that you brought into the field here into this conversation, and I first want to thank you for your your authenticity and your humility and your ability to share what's raw and real and and also sharing with the audience that it's okay to be angry. You know, there's a they say there's 7 steps to the grieving process. Well, none of it's linear. None of it's, you know, a cookie cutter. We all grieve differently, and we all grieve in different ways. But even, you know, in your wisdom that you shared about when you are so, when you live within, you never go without.
Exactly.
So you have been my spiritual masseuse and my spiritual guide for so many years. And I always learn something new. And I always then take that in to practices, different ways that I can incorporate the wisdom that you impart. And as you are, you know, sharing that you're present and you're sharing the memories of the past, but you're also fully immersed in, you know, the future or the generations to come, and so mindful of
Mhm.
what it is that you are sharing with your great granddaughter, and with, you know, celebrating your life with all of your extended family, right? And allowing them to honor you in this way.
Mhm.
And you've been on this journey with them for this lifetime and beyond. And
Yeah.
what are some of the, you know, you talked about going out on your balcony in the morning with your cup of coffee and welcoming the day. Are there any other spiritual practices that you might want to share with our audience today that either could help them through the, you know, it could be that I remember when my father was the last man standing,
Mm.
and he was in his 80s. And he said to me, his youngest sister had passed away. And he said to me, I feel like an orphan.
Yes. Well said.
And I said, I I respect that you feel that way. And I, you know, wanted to give him the space to
Mhm.
to speak into what he was feeling, because what each one of us feels is our unique truth. And I think when we try to stuff it down and, you know, and not speak our truth, that's when dis-ease happens. So
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful that you are sharing with us today, because a lot of us have gone through a lot of loss. I, in the last 3 years, lost my brother, and my mother and my father. And so feel, uh, when we can't feel as if we have the space to speak about what we're actually feeling in loss and grieving the loss of someone. Um, I know that different practices, and like the one you shared in the, you know, your morning practice, right?
Mhm.
And just
Mhm.
being open. Are there any other practices? Because I just love you as an elder and a shaman, and one who is divinely connected to source, and also so real. You know, we're human and divine. So, what could be some of the practices or a practice that you might want to share with our audience today that might be going through a grieving process, and trying to navigate loss in a different way, you know, in a new way?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important to find something, like when we lose our keys, we lose our mind, right? We're searching for something and we can't find it. It's very upsetting. So just imagine, and I think we don't have to go too far to imagine losing a person. So when it's a physical being, the best object or the best thing I think is find a friend,
Mm,
talk to someone, let whatever it is inside that's, someone who's not judgmental. And you and I have that type of relationship that, you can just call up and say, I'm hurt today. I'm hurting. Because if we don't talk, if we don't articulate what we feel, that feeling lands somewhere in your head, your heart, your belly, wherever it lands. When we start to, and this is why I appreciate this particular moment in time with you and your audience, is that I still, with everything I've done, and I'm going to suggest, the general population meditation is good, is great. However, you meditate, people think you have to clear the slate or clear your mind. I think just watching a sunrise or a sunset, you know,
Mhm.
watching the hummingbirds outside is meditation. There's walking meditations. Yoga did it for me because I needed a physical place to take my body because I
Mhm.
knew I was storing in so much grief and confusion. It was in my mind that felt like somebody just chipped part of my brain out, but it wasn't in my heart. My heart, I know they're good. I know they're loving. I've heard stories. I can't argue with them because, I'm not there yet. But the fact that they all feel like they're together and they're in heaven, whatever
Mhm.
heaven is to whoever. But the best thing I've found is honest to goodness. If I
Mhm.
could be honest with my emotion, my feeling, you don't have to fix me. It fixes itself because
Yeah.
now you're able to hear it or write it down and find these magical moments that you have that are really yours. Whenever
Mhm.
I ask, God, where are you? It always says right here.
Yeah.
I don't have to go too far. I just have to trust and believe that it's right here. And sometimes I wonder, am I who I've been praying for? Am I
Mm.
who I've been waiting for?
Yeah.
But we were taught to look to our mother, father, God, and then when they're gone or they don't appear, we feel like we did something wrong or we're not enough, and it's not true.
Yeah.
They don't answer because the answer is you. It's always going to come back to you. And so that's what's made the difference between being ill, having an illness, and being diseased or uncomfortable in my own skin. I'll get a cold or I'll get an ache in my leg and I'll sit with it and ask it like, what? What? So when I really felt in my mind that I was the last person standing, my leg gave out. It was my left leg, my past, my heart, my feminine. So did it make sense? Yes. What do you do with it? You do what it tells you to do. Put your feet up, relax. So tools, everyone has some kind of tool belt, and those tools are for the now. Don't save them like a Sunday dress, or don't save anything. Start using it, start being it, start celebrating it every single day, and you will see that you are celebrating for those who have passed on.
Yes.
You are their smile. You are their breath. You are that living legacy.
Yes.
So if I have a message to everyone and anyone, use your time wisely. You are worth every minute.
Yeah. So beautiful and so beautifully said. And I know that um using our time, this is a precious gift. This thing called life
Yes.
is such a precious, precious gift as long as we're breathing, right? And yoga means union. So
Yes.
finding different ways that, like you said, there's so many different ways to meditate. Well, meditate, in my practice is and in my teachings as a spiritual life coach is just quiet the mind and open the heart, right? Because the mind thinks, but the heart knows. And so when we know
Hmm.
that right where we are, God is,
Yes.
that right
Absolutely.
where we are, love is, and right where we are, as long as we're breathing, life is breathing us. So thank you for that and knowing that, in this precious present now moment. If you're listening, you're alive, you're breathing,
Mhm.
experiencing life, and allow life to experience you, because you are a precious child of God or life or creator or source or the universe or whatever word you give it. Emma and I happen to love the word God, you know, the grand overall designing power and presence of all that is.
Mhm.
And so as you are the living legacy of your family, the matriarch, here to just be, be, and
Yeah.
right. I mean, we're not human doings, we're
Yeah.
human beings here to
Mhm.
live our uniqueness in this physical body, but through the presence of God.
Yeah.
And so, uh, are there any parting words, or you said so many rich and precious things that I know that that everyone listening is being blessed with, but are there any parting words that you want to maybe share, and then share with how we can stay connected to you beyond this podcast? And because this is, you know, trust after trauma, but there's so many things that you've shared that they can follow you and stay connected to you, as a beautiful shaman and spiritual mentor that you are.
Well, thank you so much for that offering. I, I I think the word that we are using is trust. And when you have lived how many ever years, mine will be 75 next week, we need to trust that length of time has taught us, has given us, and we are totally equipped for what comes to us. As an elder, people come to you for words of wisdom. And most of us who are elders think, well, what kind of wisdom? But when you are asked, it almost like it's right there, it's at your disposal. So that's why I say if you feel anything, write it out, get it out, work it out, talk it out.
Mm,
Because it's in the blame, the shame, and the denial that we matter that eats us up alive, that creates illnesses that we do not need to have. And when you learn to trust the powers that be, the universe that loves me beyond measure, the God of my understanding, um, it can be a very beautiful journey of a lifetime.
mm,
So I would like to impart on everyone to just trust your heart and allow your head to meet it. Like I always think of the brain as an Acapulco diver. You know, it's on a cliff and it's ready to jump, but it doesn't know what it's going to jump into. So it's kind of fearful and stuff. But when the heart offers up this ocean of emotion, the mind can dive into it and know that it will be cradled in love and compassion. Trust it. Trust your heart. Your heart will never lie to you.
mm. So beautiful. Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
how can we stay connected to you?
Well, you can stay connected to me. I have several pages on Facebook, and every appointment is by referral. It's worked for me for 30 years. So I have a Facebook page called Reverend Emma, and
Hmm.
then another one called Body N, like the letter N, Soul. And those are the best places to reach me. You can message me or whatever. My phone number's on there. And I think it's the best way to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. And I am just going to say this to everyone here, because this has been such a rich dialogue today. But I know it's not over, so I'm going to invite you back and we'll share on another topic another day. But I just love our conversations.
Thank
They're
you.
always conversations with God, and I know that they're rich and uplifting. And I think that this platform is so beautiful to be able to open up to even other topics and dialogues that can be of love and service to others. So
Thank
I
you.
want to I'm going to invite you back, and I know that everyone here who's listening today is going to be excited about that. And I just from my heart to yours, thank you so much for imparting your beautiful wisdom and your inspiration and your beautiful heart. And I just love you so much, and I thank you so much for your beautiful love.
And I love you too. And I love your audience.
Mm,
And it's all about the love. So love, love, love. Mwah.
love, love, love. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful and blessed day.
You too. Namaste.
Namaste.